Solidarity!
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 All right, a happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. We're here today to demand an extension on unemployment. It's been 1 year since most of us have been put out of work by the COVID pandemic, but also by an economic crisis that's hit pretty hard in this country. At one point in the summer, there were over 30 million Americans unemployed. At the end of January, nearly 1 million people in Michigan were still unemployed. But you know, the experts like to fiddle with the numbers and the formulas, and they're claiming that there's not as many people unemployed now because they're saying they're not out looking for work. Duh. We're stagehands. We don't have work. We want to return to work. We need a plan. Fiddling with the numbers isn't going to solve the problem. But what is going to solve the problem is having a plan to deal with the pandemic, and we finally have started to see that move. Last week I got my first shot. 8,000 people were down there to get their shot that day, wearing masks, socially distanced, taking care of each other, the type of country we want to live in, where everyone's looking out for each other instead of just the few looking out for themselves. I want to welcome you. My name is Tom Burke. I'm the co-chair of the Political Action Forum with Local 26, and I'm a new delegate to the Kent-Ionia Labor Council. Our first speaker today is going to be Jessica Westra, the president of IATSE Local 26. Please welcome Jess.
Hello, thank you all for coming. I represent over 105 members and an additional 200 referrents. We have a convention center in Grand Rapids that has been frequently noted as the busiest convention center of its size in the United States. The only time I got a day off in 2019 was when I said no to working. Since the pandemic hit, we have had exactly one show with an audience. 6 people got 8 hours of work to do a show for 14 people. That is it for the entire year of 2020 since the pandemic hit. Since the pandemic hit, we have had very minor shows with a few live streams. Less than 25 people from my entire union have been able to earn a day's wage in our chosen profession. We are not out here fighting for luxuries. We're not fighting for some crazy pipe dream. We just want to survive the pandemic. Unemployment checks are the only thing that are keeping roofs over our heads and food on the table. People need help with rent. They need help with their mortgage. They need to be able to pay their property taxes, or they might become homeless. Every unemployment check that goes out is a boost for the economy because we can't afford to save it. We need food. We need school supplies. We need to keep alive during this pandemic. My union has done everything it could possibly do to protect me. It has extended my health insurance at no cost to me. It has refused to accept money for dues. It said, no, you need to survive. We will take care of ourselves. You keep your dues money and keep a roof over your family's head. My union hired epidemiologists and said, these are the conditions in which we will return to work. People need to socially distance. People need a mask. People need facilities to wash their hands. We have to be safe. There has been absolutely no debate from the highest level of our international president down to our lowest member that the most important thing is maintaining the health and welfare of our members. I want all of these things to be true for all of you. We need to pass the PRO Act. The PRO Act would level the playing field for 60 million Americans that are trying to unionize or want to unionize and have been banned from participating because of unfair, racist right-to-work laws. The founder of the Right to Work campaign, Vance Muse, said that unions would force white women and white men to call African black apes brother. A. Philip Randolph said no, unions are a power for equality. They treat everyone on their merits. There is no dual form of justice. There is no dual form of privilege. There is no dual form of freedom. That is what my union stands for. That is the choice before you. I urge you to call your senator, to call other people's senators, and encourage them to support the PRO Act. People have this belief that unions are just for stodgy old white men or are a bygone organization that should have been left in the past. That is not true. The majority of union members these days are women of color. They are fighting to make sure that workers are safe, that workers are earning a living wage. Unions are fighting for all of us. We know that wealth is generational. We know that if you hold back one person, you're holding back all the generations that come after them. My union has done everything it can to promote that if you do a good job, you earn a living wage, you get to retire safely. You get to work in conditions that do not put a worker at harm. That is what I want all of you to do. Please, call your senator, call your representatives. The House has already passed the PRO Act. Now it is time for us to call our senators. Thank you.
Solidarity!
Solidarity!
So one of the things that is happening with unemployment is in the state of California, for instance, the numbers last week dropped by 40,000 for unemployment claims. At the same time, pandemic unemployment assistance claims rose by almost 40%. So it's the state versus the federal, but the unemployment, people without a job, has remained the same, just like us for a year and counting. The other thing that's worth looking at is that across the United States today, there are 20 million people receiving either unemployment insurance, the PUA, or other unemployment programs. So the numbers are still high, despite what you might hear from some pundits in the news. The American Rescue Plan that just passed, the 1.9 trillion relief plan, had no Republicans vote for it, but as you see, they're out there claiming credit for it in some places. That's how they act. And what it's done is it's really helped us workers where our finances are wounded by the pandemic and people are struggling. So it's been really important for us. The next speaker I want to introduce is from right here in Lansing, the state capital of Michigan. His name is Nick Eaton. He's the Secretary Treasurer of the Stagehands Local 274 IATSE. Please welcome Nick.
Hello, Ken. Welcome to the capital of our great state. The entertainment industry has been recognizing many devastating anniversaries this week. From Broadway shutting down, to arena tours being canceled, to local venues going dark, this has been an insane and unprecedented year. There are roughly 5 million entertainment workers out of jobs nationwide, performers, technicians, and administrators alike. We have lost not just jobs, but hard-fought careers requiring specialty skills acquired over many years. Yet unemployment insurance seems to be telling us that it's time to get a new job. We've seen an industry that generates billions brought to a halt, watching our corner of the economy vanish around us. And yet here we are, fighting for the right to stay in this business when shows return. We did not order these venues closed. We do not make the rules of when things can or cannot open. And yet we are being told to get back to work before our work is even legally allowed. We must extend unemployment to all workers affected by this pandemic until the end. If that means 52 weeks, so be it. Our audiences are begging for our return, but conditions must be safe enough. The live entertainment industry is more than just tickets and seats. It is a place for the viewer to behold, examine, question, and heal the world around them. Likewise, for us, it is not just about a paycheck. Our lives are missing the enrichment, joy, sense of pride, and togetherness that working in our craft, in our union, brings us. I'd like to cover a little history now, because this is not the first set of adversities that we have weathered since the first 17 members of the National Alliance formed in 1893. In 1918, our nation saw the Spanish flu ravage the country and bring our industry to a halt. Movie studios and theaters were forced to shut down for the better part of 6 months. But after returning, we saw a boom in entertainment, and we would use this wealth of demand and prosperity to further our position as an alliance. In 1919, before any federally guaranteed right to organize or strike, we supported Actors' Equity in a successful walkout that effectively shut down Broadway. Equity was demanding recognition as the performer's representative and bargaining agent, and the strike lasted 30 days, spread to 8 cities, closed 37 plays, prevented the opening of 16 others, and it was cost millions of dollars. When the strike ended, the producers signed a 5-year contract that included most of Equity's demands. In 1926, amongst the nation's resurgence in anti-organizing violence, we bargained for the first movie studio-wide agreement. As the movie industry grew, so did our skill sets. We learned all the new crafts involved in this revolution of entertainment, from makeup artists and costumers to sound technicians and camera operators, from box office employees to projectionists and beyond. We adapted to an ever-changing landscape and came out as the leader in our industry, something we would continue to do throughout our history. As entertainment and media technology has changed around us, we have stayed on top of and ahead of the demands. Adapting and fighting are part of our history and part of our everyday commitment to being the best union stagehands we can be. We have been living that commitment for over 125 years, and now it's time for Congress to return that commitment for just over 1 year by extending unemployment as far as it is needed. If our demands are met and this investment is made, the dividends will grow exponentially. We will see some of the best and brightest times when shows return, and we will have some of the best and brightest stagehands available to execute flawlessly the myriad of skills required to get the job done safely, efficiently, and on time. Now is the time to call our representatives and demand action. Let them know we still need help. Let them know we are watching, and let them know we vote. Thank you for your time. Solidarity!
Solidarity!
All right, one of our goals today is to make Michigan unemployment great again. So we're going to do a little chant. I have a chorus up here that's going to join me, and then you can kick in. What do we want?
26 weeks.
26 weeks. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
26 weeks.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
26 weeks.
When do we want it?
Now.
So the importance of the 26 weeks is for the future, and the governor has spoken saying she favors it, but we need to get the politicians who vote in the legislature, in the House and the Senate here behind it. So we're asking people to act and follow up on 26 weeks. Our next speaker today is Johnny Kinsora, from a very proud, long union tradition and a big local here in Michigan from Detroit. He's the president of IATSE Local 38. Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you. All right, let me adjust this because I'm a little bit shorter than the rest of the world. Is that it? Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you all for coming out today. I definitely did not plan on giving a speech, but I'm here. I might as well say something. So, as he said, president of Local 38 in Detroit. We've got a long, rich tradition out there. Live event stage technicians. I come from 100 years in this business. I'm a fourth generation union stagehand. Back during the Depression, my great-grandfather was a union projectionist. And back then, when the rest of the world was crashing, we were doing good in that industry. Can't say the same for today. Today, every industry around here has come to a halt. We are seeing this firsthand, and it's not looking good. We've been in talks with all these venues, trying to figure out when is life going to turn around for us. You know, it's been over a year since the ghost light was put up in most of the houses around here. And talking with some of the newer venues that are starting to open back up, trying to do things, October is what it's looking like when we might set foot in another stage. So, in the meantime, here's where we are. We're all stuck here on unemployment that may run out, that may not get extended. We're here to fight for that. We all pay our taxes. All the employers pay into unemployment so we can be taken care of when things happen. So that's what we're looking for right now. We are demanding that they extend unemployment for 26 weeks. It's not a big ask. They've done it once, they can do it again. You know, you see these unions out here representing, fighting for this. It's not just the unions that we're fighting for right now. It's everybody who's taken a hit during this pandemic. You know, so don't think that this is union only. We are fighting for everybody whose industry is shut down. They can't work, they can't make a living, they can't buy groceries, and they can't pay their bills. So please, everybody, call your senators, get this going. Everybody can survive another year if we can make this happen. So thank you all again in solidarity for coming out, and God bless everybody for being here.
Thank you, Johnny. So the American Rescue Plan has some other things that people need to understand. It extends our benefits to September 6th, along with the $300 a week. It exempts the first $10,200 from federal taxes. It's crazy that they ever tax unemployment benefits in the first place. At least it's a step forward. It also helps to expand Obamacare for those who lost their health insurance. It provides money for COBRA programs for those who are kicked off insurance. It has money for sick leave, despite the new culture in our country where workers go to work sick. It has money provided for sick leave. There's small amounts for renters and homeowners who are behind. There's nothing that it does for the 3 million homeless people in this country. It also improves the SNAP food stamp program through September 6th, but then drops it off again. And finally, it gives a big boost to vaccine and testing, which is the pathway back to work for stagehands, hotel and restaurant workers, and other gig workers. We live in a country that has record high stock market and food lines that are growing. We need to get people out and active and rallying. I want to say we appreciate all of those stagehands and other workers who showed up today. I have a friend here from the Teamsters Union. Let's give the Teamsters a shout. Also, if you read Fight Back newspaper, you'll find out this little nugget. The $1,400 checks that are coming out this week can go to college students in your household and to parents and older people who are dependent on you. So this round, they get checks too. And finally, it has something really important. I'm going to speak and say the country of Ireland, in their proclamation of independence, talked about children and the importance of children. That's what the revolution meant in Ireland. They have child tax credits since the beginning. Finally, the ARP included child tax credits because 1 out of 7 children in our country live in poverty. So that tax credit is going to boost support for children all across the nation. What kind of country are we if we don't put our children first? I want to welcome up next someone who's going to talk about film industry in Michigan, something we lost along with the unemployment being cut to 20 weeks a few years ago under Governor Snyder. We lost the film industry incentives. So I'd like to welcome up next Walter Schink, the former third vice president of IATSE Local 26. Welcome, Walter.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome out on this fine St. Patrick's Day. Now, I want to start out by sharing a thought I have about masks. Masks are like unions. Masks are here to help us, protect us, but it's also here to help others. Even a person who doesn't wear a mask, we're helping protect that person. This is a union mentality. This is a solidarity mentality. This is what we should do as citizens. We look out for each other. So when you wear a mask, think union. Think that we're here to make everybody a little bit better. Now, I also want to go back now and get into the film credit. There seems to be such a fight on trying to bring good-paying, professional jobs that help the cities, the counties, the state in tourism, with the restaurants and hotels. It is such a, could be such a vital industry for us. And there's such a fight for it. And I don't understand that, because there was a time in Michigan when New York Broadway shows would come and tack here. We would bring in jobs. We used to do more videotape than anyone in the country, right here in Michigan with our advertising and all, and we've lost all this. These are good paying, skilled jobs. Now, we have a Michigan Film Tax Credit. It's House Bill 6504, 6505. We're asking you to call your senators, your congresspeople, your mayors, your council people. Get them involved. Get them excited about movies coming to our area. Who doesn't want De Niro walking down your little street somewhere doing a big show? Maybe he loves the area and buys a house. What a boon for your area. And if it doesn't come, it's helping tourism everywhere in this state. People will come when they see this. So there's two people I want to thank for pushing this right now. This is a newer thing. We have State Senator Adam Hoyler. He's going to present this bill. And we have our own Lindsay. Sister Lindsay is a bulldog on this. She is contacting everybody. We need to support her by calling who we can in our jurisdictions. I don't care what it takes from you, a letter, an email, a text. Support the film tax credit. There is no loss to our state in anything. It is nothing but a plus. So because we're theater people, we can put it this way. There's a practical light. That's your spotlight. That's the jobs. That's the economic input that a tax credit would bring. Then there's theatrical lighting, which is a lot of hoopla, but it looks good, but means nothing. I'm hearing a lot of theatrical. Let's focus. Let's get practical and bring jobs back to Michigan that pay well, pay a pension, and allow people to be safe and enjoy a weekend. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much for letting me bend your ear. Peace and solidarity.
Solidarity!
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 Chucky Arla. So we're out here today for ourselves and other workers who aren't organized, but we also have a special day because we're out here in solidarity with the Amazon workers organizing a union down in Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. Let's hear it for the Amazon workers. Solidarity! Right on. So they're voting by mail, and they will be finished at the end of the month to decide whether that big warehouse with 6,000 workers has a union or not. Now down in Alabama, historically, there's been a strong anti-union sentiment from the big owners and the big corporations, and it's no surprise. And back in the days when there was a economic crisis in the 1930s with the Great Depression, you saw that when unions went down to organize in Alabama, the big owners would mobilize the Ku Klux Klan to try to shut them down. Up here in Michigan, we have some of the same laws now because of the anti-union sentiment that they used to have, that they still have in the South. So that's what they're facing. If they win in the South, we win in the North. That's my message for you. So we have to stand up in solidarity with the Amazon workers and with their union. It's the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. 70% of the workers in that warehouse in Alabama are African American. So they face two struggles against white supremacy and for labor. And through the unity of the workers, we can win and beat back both, like our President Jess Westra told us. What they're up against is a giant corporation. Jeff Bezos has almost $200 billion in his pocket. Those are some big pockets. I like to say by the time he's brushed his teeth in the evening, he's made your salary for the year. That's how much he makes an hour. So if they win, we win. And regardless of the outcome, the message to our union leaders, to the AFL-CIO, to the Teamsters, to the 4 different postal workers unions, is we got to come together and have a bold vision with big action. We can't do it warehouse by warehouse. It's going to take us another 30 years. We have to do it all at once. We have to mobilize everyone and all our resources from all the unions and make this happen. I want to introduce next from our local, one of the people who's inspired these rallies, Stan Saha, the member at large for Local 26 of IATSE, and he'll speak to you about the PRO Act and about building solidarity. Welcome, Stan.
Thank you, Tom. I already had to edit my speech. I was supposed to start with good afternoon, but we're still in the morning. Not necessarily a big deal. My name is Stan Saha. I am the member at large, as he said. I'm also the co-chair of our Political Action Forum Committee. My other co-chair is Mr. Burke and Walter, who spoke before me. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. We kind of threw this together in about a week. A little more time than we've had before, though. I also want to acknowledge the rest of our committee. Over to the side, we have Kay Milanowski, who has been helpful in many of the rallies. I'd like to acknowledge Josh Roskam. Josh is our business agent and was unable to join us this morning. With all of his due diligence, he tested positive for COVID just yesterday. But he's been a driving force, and we definitely miss him. I told him I was going to joke about how smoothly it ran without him, but of course I would just be kidding. I also have a note in my pocket here. I have to read a book that he wrote for me to share with you guys. And also I'd like to thank Jess Westra, who is also on our committee and president of the Local 26. I'm going to forget somebody, I'm sure. But the one I really cannot forget, Matthew McManus has been with us from the beginning. Of course, I look at you, Tom, he's your friend. Well, he's all of our friends. But Lindsay Caterberg could not join us this morning. She is attending a board meeting for the Michigan Film Tax Credit. And as Walter referred to, she's been like a real bulldog here. And to be honest with you, this committee was just 3 of us getting together in an Italian restaurant. 3 Irishmen in an Italian restaurant. Yeah, Walter, I'll steal your line. But then one day we had a meeting on our front porch, and Lindsay joined us, and man, there was a spark. There was an urgency. We had done enough talking. It was time for action. We came out here last year, July, held a rally, and from there, it's just skyrocketed. I'm very pleased and blessed to have these people working with me. I've been a stagehand for about 25 years, 26. I was raised by a Teamster. Emily is a Teamster. Thank you, Emily, for joining us. I want to thank the locals that are represented here today. 38 out of Detroit, thank you. 274, 26, 395, and if I missed any of you, holler out your number now. 199. 199, there we go. All right. Dang, that bounce back is annoying. I would also like to thank anybody that's here from Michigan United. The speakers, especially Johnny. I kind of put him on the spot first thing this morning. Hey, would you like to speak? He was like, well, seeing as how I'm here. Thank you, John. In a previous life, I was the house head carpenter at DeVos Place. I work very closely with Jess, as she's the head projectionist there. And boy, I'll tell you, we've gone from 80-hour weeks to 80-second sound bites. And we're missing it. And I know all of you are. If it weren't for the 600 PUA last year, I'd probably be begging for a place to stay right now. And therefore, we need to increase the unemployment beyond that crazy 300 and whatever amount it is. It's not enough. And the Republicans behind us here need to understand that. There's still work to be done. And the film credits were huge when we had them in the past. I know of a couple people that bought houses, got out of debt. Local 26 bought our office off from the film income. And another thing these guys need to understand is when they film in Michigan, they sleep in Michigan, they eat in Michigan, they do recreational stuff in Michigan, they spend money in Michigan. How can that be bad? These people need to wake up in here and smell the coffee. Yeah. We need more union, more representation, and more voices like we have today here to speak out and get equality and justice for all workers. Not just union, I know it's been said, not just union, but all workers. And we need to take a look at what they're doing in Bessemer, Alabama. They're scheduling mandatory employee meetings so they can use the time to slam union representation. They're following them around the shop and pestering them about not getting involved with that union, and this is why you shouldn't, and this is what's going to happen. Blah, 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 blah. Bunch of crazy stuff. They went so far as to change a traffic signal outside the plant to restrict the handing out of union brochures and other materials. It's crazy. But we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to do rallies. I would encourage all of you to reach out to your representatives, because I know during Lindsay's fight in regards to the film tax credit, she's called these ladies and gentlemen, and I use the term loosely, and they'll say to her, well, are you my constituent? You don't live in my district. I live in Michigan, and that's all you need to know. Thank you again for being here. Drive safely home. Thank you.
All right. So again, we're out here today because we're 1 year out of work. We're hoping to have a plan that gets us back to work. It can't be rushed. We don't want people to get sick. We don't want mass spreader events. That's why we wear masks, we socially distance, we work safe. The union is what makes that happen. Without unions, employers will run rampant because all they're about is making profits. That's their only goal. So we're also demanding that the 20 weeks become 26 weeks. We're happy to see that the $1.9 trillion plan got passed and is benefiting working people across this country. We also want to see the PRO Act, which will restore unions to an equal footing to organize unions and stand up for workers' rights in this country. It's very important right now to pay attention to the PRO Act, and it's a huge opportunity for not just labor, but for workers across the country to have some fairness at work. Finally, I want to say we're here in solidarity with the Amazon workers. We look forward to their victory, and then we can move on to the other big employers like Walmart and start to roll forward in this country and rebuild the union movement. When I was a little kid, 1 out of 3 workers belonged to unions. Everyone in my neighborhood was union. Even the people that owned small shops were pro-union. Now we have people divided and heading in different directions. We need to get back that unity of workers and small owners and bring democracy back to the country. I want to end by asking the speakers to join me at the front here to speak to the media and answer questions. Thank you all for turning out. Solidarity!
Solidarity!
Can we speak?
Who?
Representative Amos O'Neill, and I'm Terry Sable, representative. I'm the Labor Caucus chair.
Hold on a minute. I have some politicians who want to join us. So I'm taking a risk. I don't hand the microphone over to anybody. But it sounds like a good opportunity, and we'll keep an eye on them while they're up here. I want to welcome them. They're going to introduce themselves. Please give them a shout.
Thank you. We won't let you down. We won't let you down, I promise. Listen, folks, I really appreciate you being out here. My name is Terry Sable. I'm the state representative from Muskegon. I'm also the new legislative labor chair, Labor Caucus chair. And I'm joined by my fellow representative from the Saginaw area, Representative Amos O'Neill. So, listen, I just want to make sure that you know this for a fact. You're hearing it straight from me. We hear you loud and clear. We talked about some bills earlier that raise the weekly benefit amount from that ridiculous 362. I think is the quote that I heard, which I agree with you. It hasn't been adjusted in about 20 years, and it's below poverty line. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's an insult to Michigan's workers, to be quite honest with you, the way it is right now. But also we have bills that raise the number of weeks for unemployment from 20 to 26. No other state in the Midwest has those kind of ridiculous amounts. And we're stuck at 20 while everybody around us is at 26. And I want to make sure we all understand this, because I think this is very important. You and I understand, but I want to make sure the others that may be here listening understand it. This is for people who lose their jobs through no fault of their own. Through no fault of their own, they are put out of work and they need help. And I think that they deserve the help, all the help that they can get. And this pandemic is certainly an example of that. People like yourselves are losing your jobs through no fault of your own, and you need to have a security net to fall back on. And I can tell you this, the House Democrats here at this Capitol, we hear you loud and clear. We've introduced 20-some bills that address the Unemployment Insurance Agency, and so far we've gotten a hearing on none by the people that control this place in the State House. And to me, that's an insult, again, to Michigan's workers, and we're going to do everything we can to try to fix that. So hopefully I haven't let you down at all on whoever gave me the microphone. But I just wanted to make sure you heard that directly from myself and Representative O'Neill. So thanks again for coming out here, and keep doing what you're doing. We certainly appreciate it.
Solidarity! Solidarity!
All right, you know, we got some support here, so guys, know that we're here fighting for you every day. It's a battle, but we're all ready to do it. I'm Amos O'Neill, represent the 95th District in Saginaw, Michigan, and we stay in touch with our labor brothers and sisters all over the state, and know you got some partners here to work for you. We appreciate you being out here. Keep up the fight, keep the faith, and we're going to be with you. All right? All right, all right. Thank you.
Well, how do you like that? Solidarity in action. You come out and organize, and good things happen. Well, I'll just keep it short and say thank you all for turning out. You see that when we act together, we gain power. We're able to reach people and build relationships with them to make this society go in the direction that workers want it to go in, so that the Jeff Bezos aren't deciding when and where and how everything happens. So thank you again for turning out. Solidarity! 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 Happy St. Patrick's Day. Have a safe ride home.